It's a live edition of Fanmail Friday, so let's get started.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Feel good Friday.
Yeah, as long as we don't get any breaking news. So make sure you check things while we're here, just in case, because you never know what's going on. But as I said, it's Fanmail Friday. And before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go live. Today's Fanmail Friday. That's all it's going to be. It's all questions. We do questions from the insiders, from YouTube, and then we're going to answer any questions that you have in the chat in segment 3. So keep that in mind. Don't ask them too soon. Ask them later in the show if you stick around. So as usual, we start with the insiders, and as usual, we start with Betty, because that's just the way we do things around here. Betty says, or asks, if you could lock in any available reliever, who would you choose, and which infield position is in most urgent need of shoring up?
Aroldis Chapman. No, I'm kidding, obviously. I think the Yankees are going to prioritize being in a reliever market that fits them, as opposed to going after guys. I don't think they're going to be the team that's going to be the aggressor in the reliever market. I think they're going to hide behind. So, who I'm going to prioritize is a different question than who I think the Yankees are going to prioritize, because if I were prioritizing, I'd want them to get all the top guys that are out there. I'd go get the Jeff Hoffmans of the world and stuff. I don't think they're going to be in that market, and it doesn't feel like they are, because they could have went out and signed a top-tier reliever already and went after guys already. They don't necessarily need to be in the market to be getting cheaper guys, but if they're going to go with Juan Soto, I think they're going to try and find guys that are, cheaper contracts that have a lot of upside. And I can't personally have a problem with that right now, because if there's anything Brian Cashman has proven to us over the years that he is elite at, it's that. It's finding guys off the cheap that are relievers that wind up coming in here with great upside and pitching really well. He's proven to us over time, unless it's a guy like an Aroldis Chapman, he is not going to overspend for relief pitching. He's not. He never has, and I don't think he ever will. So, he proved it last year with Oakland, with not getting Mason Miller. So, I think there's going to be a market reliever wise for them, but I think Brian Cashman's going to determine that more than we can.
And the second part of the question, which infield position is most urgent need of shoring up?
I'd say first base, and I'll say it for this reason. I do think there's importance at third and second, and at least establishing a third and second baseman. But, and this might sound crazy, but I don't think it is. Every time in history when the Yankees have been good, and especially in recent history, what have they had locked up? An elite first baseman. It's always been an elite power-hitting first baseman that they've had. Particularly power-hitting first baseman that can field.
Mm-hmm.
And they've lacked that over the last few years. They have. And Anthony Rizzo came over here. I think he fits that description, but age got the best of him, and he wasn't the kind of player. He was never Chicago's Anthony Rizzo in New York.
Right.
And I think they're going to have to prioritize that position. Again, I just think I hate that we have to keep mentioning his name, but we do. This all falls on Juan Soto. They can't do anything until they know what's going on with Soto.
Right. You get the next one.
I do. I just have to scroll on my computer. It's very difficult now that I usually use my iPad behind the scenes. And now that I'm not, my iPad doesn't work anymore. I'm using the computer flip screen thing. Very challenging, but I'm ready. Aaron L says, what do you make of the news that Clay Holmes is gathering interest as a starter? I feel like that it has less to do with his actual ability to start and more to do with what teams would want to do given the price he'll command. Interesting take on this. I found this news to be very weird too. I really like your point though, Aaron, because I think him being a starter is going to command a lot cheaper of a price than him as a reliever. So teams wanting to sign him as a starter is interesting, but who is going to let him start for them? Like, where is he going if the market for him is starting pitcher? Because it's not going to be the Yankees. It's not going to be a top-tier team. No top-tier team looking to win is going to bring in Clay Holmes, asking him to be a starter. They're not going to run that experiment. It's going to be on a losing team. So what does Clay Holmes do? Does he take less money as a reliever, or does he try to build his career up as a starter? I'm not quite sure. I found this very weird, and I don't know if he has starter level stuff. I don't picture him as a starter. So I found this report to be very, very interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not sure who would do it and who would want him, because it's not easy to just become a starter. I know Michael King made it look easy with the Yankees and then with San Diego, but Clay Holmes is different, and I don't think that would work very well. But thank you for the question, Aaron. Up next, David F. Who was your favorite veteran Yankees player who was considered finished by other MLB teams when he came over? Loved Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry. They both played minor league baseball in Virginia, where I happen to live.
Very interesting. Mine's a lot later on in time, but I'll give you this. Matt Holliday. Not because Matt Holliday was necessarily elite with the Yankees, but he had a really good 3-week run. He was with the team for the whole year, but he had like a really, really insane 3 weeks. I think he had a walk-off involved in there.
Yeah, that was the Baltimore game where Jacoby Ellsbury hit his 100th home run, and it happened to be a grand slam, and then the Starlin Castro hit, and then Holliday walked it off. Like, that was like insane. That was like the best game of that regular season.
They were down like 9-1. I was at that game. I think they were down 9-1 and 12-2, and they came back and won the game, which is insane. It's like one of the biggest comebacks in Yankee history. So I'll give it to Matt Holliday.
I'll say Dwight Gooden just because I was at his no-hitter, and who the hell would have expected that I would have seen Dwight Gooden pitch a no-hitter in 1996 when the Yankees basically picked him up off the scrap heap? You know, like, it was.
And win a World Series for the Yankees.
But against Seattle, you know, I spoke with David Cohn about this. I said, what was it like for you guys navigating through all those crazy lineups with Seattle and Texas and Cleveland and all these big guys? And then you have Gooden come out, and he pitches a no-hitter. Like, I know he walked like 9 guys also, but it just felt like, okay, like when you looked at the scoreboard, you saw the 0, and you're just like, okay, someone's going to hit it. Like, Buhner comes up, you're like, okay, maybe he'll do it. Maybe Edgar will do it. Maybe no one did it. Yeah. It was amazing. So Gooden is my answer.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's go to Chris Leindecker. Chris says, I have 2 questions for Brian. Since he was away last week, I was in Indy. If you were to hit a game-winning home run, what would your celebration be? And if you played for the Yankees, how do you think John Sterling would call your home run? Oh, that's impossible. I don't think I ever had the nerve to, like, I've met John Sterling before, but I don't think I would ever have the nerve to even ask him that. I feel like that's like unbelievably selfish. I do think I'd be the rounding first base with the right hand and the arm in the air kind of guy, like pointing at the crowd. I feel like that would be my celebration. But I don't know if I'd be too flashy. I don't know if I'm like a modern day too flashy kind of player. My home run call, I have no idea. I mean, I could just copy Brian McCann's call, right? Because my name sounds similar to his, right? Would he give me the McCann kind of call? I don't know. Would you answer for this?
I answered that I would probably do a moonwalk from third base to home plate.
Wow, that's arrogant. I like it.
Yeah. And then Sterling would probably start singing, instead of "I got you under my skin," he would say "I got Sue under my skin." I think that's what he would do for me.
Yeah, probably something corny. You got to think of something really corny, really corny.
It's an old song. It's a standard. My coworkers at NBC used to sing that to me all the time because they always called me Gatsu. That was my nickname. So I was like, yeah, I think John Sterling would do that.
I know he's a very big, like, old-timey Broadway fan. Like, he loves old Broadway plays, so maybe he'd pick something like, is there a Brian kind of reference in an old Broadway play? I'm not sure.
Maybe he'd say something about Brian's song, even though that's like one of the most depressing movies ever made.
Yeah. So maybe something like that. I will say the home run celebration that I love, which is like it's such a low-key celebration, but I do love it, is Giancarlo Stanton's when he grabs the football.
Oh, yes, from third baseman, yeah.
Because it's so like underappreciated and under realized. I want to ask this too before we go on to the next segment. I'll ask my Fanmail Friday question to you. Do you think going into next year the Stanton hate is gone? Do you think it's still around? Like, where do you think Yankee fans lean on the Stanton hate trajectory?
I think they give him a month.
I think so too. I think he'll go into
because
the next
Yankee
year.
fans are just ridiculous. I mean, he could have led them to the World Series, and they'd still find a way to find something to boo him about a month.
He kind of
into the
did.
season.
I mean, he kind of did. I mean, he was.
No,
Like,
I mean to the World Series. I meant to the World Series title.
Yeah. I'm just saying that he was like one of the main reasons they won the pennant last year, and it didn't do anything for him. So
yeah, because that's just the way Yankee fans are.
Yep.
I mean, no offense, not the ones here, not in our chat. No,
you guys, all 38 of you that are great.
You guys are fantastic. Let me just get everything together, because doing this live is really scary, because we have to make sure everything's lined up correctly. And
well, I'll say this while Stacey works on getting everything together. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, and hit the notification so that when our videos go up. If you'd like to be a part of next week's Fanmail Friday, you can reply to the pinned comment on our videos that goes up Monday through Thursday. You can ask us anything, or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club, where you get top priority and your questions get answered in segment 1. The link is in the description. It's only for Fanmail Friday. You'll get text from us, and you can text us any questions that you have. There's a 14-day free trial, and it's a good time. Trust us. Coming up next, we'll go over more Fanmail Friday questions.
There we go. Okay, so I love attending live events. I like going to concerts. I like going to basketball, baseball, football, everything. And one of my favorite memories was being at Madison Square Garden, seeing my all-time favorite band, Duran Duran, for the 24th time 2 years ago. And with Gametime, getting the best tickets for every live event has never been easier. They've got a new feature called Gametime Picks, which does all the hard work for you. So instead of searching through thousands of tickets, Gametime Picks filters out the fluff, and it shows you only the absolute best deals on great seats. And if that wasn't enough, there's an all-in pricing feature. You toggle on it. It shows you the full price up front, so there's no surprises at checkout. You also get seat views. So if you haven't been to a venue, you can see a panoramic view from your seat in the app, so you can decide exactly where you want to sit. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. Did that with minimal issues.
I thought Hallelujah. It was amazing. Gold star.
Now, usually insiders are only in segment 1, or they carry over into segment 2, which is what is happening today, because there were a bunch of insider questions. And the next one, if I can get my cursor to work, is from Eric S, and it's a very quick one. Would you move Jazz to second and sign Adames?
Yes. Next question.
I would too. Yeah,
absolutely.
The thing I like about Jazz, though, you could keep him at third because he's doing really well there, and with a full spring training and working on things, he can really get into it. You can move him to second because he knows how to play there. And you can also play him in the outfield in center if you really needed him to be a spot starter out in center field. He gives you a lot of options.
Very versatile kind of player, which is very appreciated. And something it's intriguing about Jazz too is the level of love that he has being a Yankee. There's a key to that too. With the way the organization's kind of been run the last few years, I think you've seen a lot of I don't know how to put this, but in the public eye, hasn't been viewed as very great. Whereas he loves being here, and I think he brings a different vibe into that clubhouse, a little more of a relaxed vibe. I think you need that. So I love how versatile a player he is. I would absolutely go with this move.
A little too relaxed in some of the post-game videos where Yankee PR people were pushing him, and who was it? Him and was it him and Glaber? I can't remember who it was, but they were doing something in the locker room that you don't want young kids to see Yankee players do. But other players do it too. You just don't see it. And players have been doing it for years. And it's just it was just funny. She was like, I was like, wait, what's happening here? And I had to rewind my TV, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, don't do that. That's not good. But yeah, I would definitely, that's not even a question. Yes, yes.
Well, let's go to Tim. He's a new insider. Tim, thank you for joining. He asks, if the Yankees sign Fried, then the rotation is Cole, Fried, Rodon, Hill, Schmidt. Do the Yankees move Stroman and Cortez for more flexibility? I think they keep one of them. I think it's probably Cortez. just because a cheaper contract, a little more flexibility, and Stroman's a guy that you really don't want to deal with. He just is. They brought him in for a 2-year deal. I didn't hate the deal at the time, but I'll flat out say it. Mark Stroman's an annoying guy. He just is. Like that's the best way to put it, right? Like he's not a bad guy.
But
He's
he
not
didn't do anything, did he?
He's not a cancer in the clubhouse. He's not, but he's the kind of player that just always has a comment, always runs to social media, and always has to think that he's bigger than the team, and he's not.
But did he do that this year?
No, he was fine. He was a model citizen this year, which is weird to think about. But
it's
to
just
me, with Marcus Stroman, it's always one thing away from ticking off like that. And I mean, who knows how?
I don't know. I feel like he realizes you can't pull that nonsense on the Yankees because you will be jettisoned. You just be shoved out of town within seconds because they don't tolerate that stuff.
We'll see. I don't know if they're going to tolerate his $18 million contract. Like, I feel like there's motivation to move him because of his $18 million salary when, let's be real, I mean, he didn't get a playoff start. So you can't be paying that money to that kind of pitcher like that who's not going to get a playoff start. I don't think they're going to prioritize that.
Right.
I'd like this I'd like this rotation. This is the pitching rotation. I think you keep Cortez because of the cheaper salary. I also love this too, and I'll say this too, just because of the theme of the way that today went in New York sports, if you followed it, and what the New York Rangers were doing with Jacob Trouba, where they basically told him, you're either going to be on waivers or gone. And they basically figured out that a no-trade clause really means nothing in sports because we value no-trade clauses like it's a big deal and you can't move guys. But when a team says, we don't want you, it means we don't want you, get out. And they made him accept a trade to Anaheim, and they made him get out of town, and they made Anaheim eat the whole salary and all that kind of stuff. I sometimes wish the New York Yankees would be more like that. Like, I'm proud, as a Ranger fan, I'm proud of the way they handled things today. I am. They told him, we don't want you here anymore. Go. And they did that. Is it rough? Sure. It's a business.
It's a business.
Exactly. That's how it works. And I like that they did it, and I wish the Yankees would do it more. Marcus Stroman's not going to want to go anywhere. Sure. I hope the Yankees just cut him and move on if that's what they choose to do. Like, you have to be a little more hard-nosed with these kind of guys. And, you know, I think they've been that over the years, but you can't show loyalty to every single player that's in town. And I think they're starting to show that a little more. We'll just see how it goes. Like, they're showing him with Gleyber. All the reports that are out there is they have no motivation to bring Gleyber Torres back. They're done. Like, they're done with Gleyber. So they're showing that now. It's just, you know, it's one of those things. You got to move forward with the, you know, guys can be great guys, sure, but you have to focus on the team at number one.
Right. Your boy Bieber is re-signing with the Guardians, by the way.
Very upset about that. And the number that he got too, he got $16 million, which I think is a little more than was anticipated, just for the Guardians to bring him back. It's on a 1-year deal, but I would have liked the Yankees to explore and maybe give him that second year to try and get him in town.
Yep. You're the first person I thought of when I saw the, well, I didn't see the tweets because I'm not on Twitter anymore, but someone put the tweets on Blue Sky, and I was like, oh, poor Brian. What a bummer.
It happens.
Last insider question of the day. And let me say this, Debbie, I saved your question because it was so long and thought out. I think Brian and I might have to do a segment on it.
Okay.
So we're not ignoring your question. I just wanted to let you know, Insider Debbie, we're going to answer it, but we're going to make like a segment out of it because it's the off season and it sounds like the perfect historical kind of thing to figure out why it is the way it is. There's a hint of something. It has to do with ballparks. So we're going to do something about that. So just wanted to give you a heads up. All right. Last insider question from KCC. Who do you guys think will get the biggest contracts besides Soto, and where do you see those players going? And then it said that is obviously for this offseason.
Yeah, I wonder. I think Fried might get a little more than anticipated, especially with what Bieber signed for. So
and what Severino signed for?
That's crazy. Severino getting $22 million a year is nuts to me. I got to applaud the
From
Mets
the A's. From the A's. What?
It's funny enough. We're talking about the Yankees potentially handing Soto $700 million.
Yeah.
The $66 million Severino got is the biggest total contract the Oakland A's have ever given out.
Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. They were crying poverty. They're like, we need a new stadium. We need to go somewhere else because we're not doing things in Oakland. And they're going to be playing in Sacramento for the next 3 seasons. And Severino's going to be there for 3 of them.
I don't know why he'd want to sign there. I have no idea what the motivation for Severino is.
And it's so strange because Severino goes to Oakland. Frankie Montas goes to the Mets. Like,
yeah, a bunch of former Yankees that are out there just moving around. I didn't really understand the Mets one either.
yeah.
But yeah, Severino, weird one. Didn't understand that contract. I find it crazy that he got as much money as he did, though. I don't think good for him. Nobody was giving him that contract, though.
No,
nobody. So that one's fine to me. I'll say I think Fried is potentially get a really, really, really big deal. That could be a possibility. There's a lot of guys out there that could be getting. I think this all is contingent on what Soto gets. It really is. It all goes down to that. I wonder what Christian Walker signs for, and I'll say it because of this. I think whatever team doesn't, I mean, goes between Yankees and Mets. Whatever team doesn't wind up with Juan Soto, it puts more pressure on the other team to go out there and make moves. And I think that's going to cause the other team to panic and spend more than they're comfortable spending. So you might see guys get a little overpaid. I think that's a great possibility of that.
Right. Moving on to YouTube. Leon McGough, I believe that's how you say it. Would the Yankees be able to sign Christian Walker if they re-sign Soto? Would the Cubs trade Nico Horner because he would be an upgrade defensively over Torres, and he would be the kind of leadoff hitter the Yankees need? By the way, speaking of the Cubs, the word on the street, shopping Bellinger and the Japanese guy. What's his name on the Cubs? Why can't I think of his name?
Yeah, he's a great hitter.
Yes. I'm picturing his face. Why can't I think of his name?
I don't know.
But I saw
Shoto Imanaga. So
yes.
I think there's a chance Imanaga gets moved. I think there's a less chance of that than Bellinger. I think there's a really high chance that Bellinger gets moved at this point. I don't think the Yankees should be all over that, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's motivation for them to move Nico Horner as much. I think they'd move him for the right price. But I don't think there's a lot of motivation. Nico Horner is a really good leadoff hitter, hits like .310 every year. I can't imagine there's a lot of motivation to necessarily. I think they move Nico Horner for the right deal in return. They're not just going to move him because they want to move him. Bellinger might be a different story. They might want to get rid of the contract and get some prospects in town. Yep. That's a different one. Would they be able to get Christian Walker if they re-sign Soto? I highly doubt it. I think if they re-sign Soto, the move is to then definitely trade for Bellinger. It means you're going all in and you're only getting Bellinger for a year. I think that makes more sense. It's cheaper long term.
We'll see. All right, you can do our last question from YouTube.
Not a Liam 40, I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Natalie M.
Yeah, no, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Aside from Game 5, Judge is a fantastic defender in the outfield and in great shape as a bonus. My concern is that he should start transitioning to first to keep him healthy. When do you see that discussion starting? Never. And I'll be honest with you. I will never, ever, 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 I wanted to add two more in there, understand the argument of moving major league players to first base. If anything,
he would be a DH after being in the outfield.
Absolutely. It's not a realistic thing. I don't know why people, for some reason, think first base is only running over to the bag and catching the ball. That's not the case. He's so
big. Like, has there ever been a first baseman that big?
No, there's never been a player that big, other than Dave Winfield. Like, it's not. I'm not saying this, Natalie, to be disrespectful. So if you take it that way, I do apologize. But if first base is not the position that it is when you were playing in high school or when you were playing in Little League, where you could just move a guy there and he could play there. That's not the case in the major leagues. There's a lot of things that go into footwork and positioning and moving.
You saw how bad A-Rod looked when they tried to put him at first base.
Exactly. It's not a position that you can just throw guys in there and he could just figure it out, especially if he hasn't played first base in his whole career. That's not the case. It's a very, you've seen as Yankee fans firsthand over the last 20 years, how much a really, really good defensive first baseman is. And just because it's a good outfielder does not mean it translates to first base. And people are obsessed with that idea. I don't get it. I never will. So no, if he moves anywhere, it's going to be to right field next year, hopefully.
I mean,
or left field.
I do like the idea of a 6'7" Aaron Judge being at first base and just like lifting his hand up to catch a line drive that would have gone over anyone else's head.
Sure, but it's not the reality that people think.
Of course not.
I don't know why people view first base as such an easy transition for major leaguers, but it's not.
Right. All right, coming up next, we're going to chat with you guys because you're nice enough to be here at 7:26 on a Friday when you all should be, I don't know, do people still go on dates and go out to dinner? I wouldn't know. I'm a hermit, but we're going to do more Fanmail Friday coming up next.
Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL. It's all available in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, do live play-by-play, and so much more. All available on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You can get in all your bets for the weekend coming up. I like the Arizona Cardinals to show the Seahawks who's boss at -3 this weekend in the NFL. You can place that on FanDuel. All you got to do is visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's all available on FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel. It's an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Stacey, you guys can feel free to throw in some questions in the chat. We will get to as many as possible. I did keep two just to play out there. I wanted to first say to Ricardo, yes, I love the contract the Rangers did with Igor. I'm gonna throw some Ranger content in there because why not? Extended Igor $11.5 million a year, cheaper than what they thought. I love the flex out of Chris Drury today. If you're a Ranger fan, they did everything imaginable to set themselves up for the future today, and while still staying competitive. So I love what they did, and I wanted to bring this one up because I wanted to get your take on it, Stacey. This was from John the Beagle Dad earlier that he put this comment up, and I wanted to get your take on it. There is no loyalty in baseball, and then all caps anymore. Stacey, I wanted to bring this up because it might sound harsh, but I think it's the truth. There shouldn't be loyalty in professional sports. I think you can have loyalty as a fan and you can have your favorite players and love your players. But the reason why we are not allowed to make decisions for our teams and the New York Yankees have Brian Cashman in charge and different teams, different guys in charge, is because those guys are the skilled guys that are able to make these decisions. At the end of the day, it's a business. And yes, we watch the sport because we enjoy it and we want to enjoy it and everything like that. That's totally, totally accurate. But also, having said that, it is a business. It is. And you can't sit here and act like different guys should be, on your team forever because you love them as a player or because, Derek Jeter couldn't be on the Yankees forever. And they showed loyalty to Derek Jeter, by the way. Derek Jeter, and how did that work out at the end of his career? They didn't show loyalty to A-Rod. And it wound up being the right move. I'm not sitting here saying that guys shouldn't be shown loyalty. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't show loyalty to certain players. But it is a business at the end of the day. You cannot keep players around because they're good guys or because they're longtime players, legacy players. That's not how pro sports works. It's just not. So, it goes back to the Ranger comment that I made earlier. Could they have shown loyalty to Jacob Trouba? Sure. But was Jacob Trouba an effective player for his salary market in today's game? No. So they moved on from him. That's how professional sports work. So, was it good to have loyalty for players back in the day? Probably not. Franchise-wise, no. Maybe you as a fan were happier, but the future of the team probably suffered because of that in a lot of times. So I don't know how you feel about it. That's just the way that I look at it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I understand why there isn't loyalty, and it's more for the fans than it is for the actual franchises because you have a business to run.
Yeah,
so
and you got to win games.
All right, Vincent M. Durham, do y'all think Juan Soto will sign by next week and with whom? I have no idea with whom, and hopefully by Sunday because I can't take this anymore.
I think it's going to happen by next week. I do, and I think it'll be the Yankees.
I don't know.
I honestly believe that.
I just want this over with. Let's put this up because I joked about dating. Finn just said, guys, I went on a date last night, but one of my teachers was sitting next to me at the restaurant. It was really awkward.
That is awkward. Finja, I don't know why I anticipated you being much older than teachers. Maybe you were in college or something. Congrats on the date. I hope it went well. It is awkward to be there with a teacher. That's for damn sure.
Wait, should I tell this story? Can I tell this story since we're here live and about a teacher?
Go right ahead.
All right. My freshman year of high school, the Friday before midwinter break, I basically cut my classes in the afternoon because no one was doing anything. It was the last day before vacation. So I cut my gym class. Who wants to go to gym on Friday before vacation?
Agree.
So we were going to Florida literally the next day. We woke up early the next morning. Or no, we left Friday night. That's right. We left Friday night, woke up early the next morning in like Ashland, Virginia at a motel off of 95. And we go into the restaurant and I'm sitting there and I look and it's my gym teacher. I'm not kidding. At this random motel on the side of the road, and she comes up, oh, I didn't realize are you going to Florida? We're like, yeah. And my dad's like, talking to her or whatever. And I'm like, please don't tell them I skipped class. Please don't tell them. She didn't care. It's gym. But I was terrified. And I thought I was hallucinating because I was like, why would a teacher be here? And in Virginia, of all places, like at least
that is strange.
That restaurant was probably close to where you are, but Virginia, like we were a good 5 hours away from our houses.
It's
like, it was
so
really
random. It's so random to me. That is, that would scare me too.
Yeah, I mean, like again, it was gym. It wasn't like I skipped history or English or something like that.
If you did,
but I still don't think the teacher would have said anything. Because there was another time in elementary school, we had indoor gym class because, our gym was being remodeled. So we had to have the class in our classrooms. Mm-hmm. And did they do this in your elementary school, like in the 2000s, or did they stop doing this in the 2000s? Because in the 80s, we used to race around on dollies. And race around the gym.
Yeah. But they got rid of them towards the end of my middle school because kids would get their fingers caught underneath them.
Right. Well, what happened was we were in the classroom and I crashed into a desk and I hit my face and I said the S word very loud. And, I'm 12 years old. It's 6th grade. I know my gym teacher heard me. And I was thinking to myself, I'm going to be in so much trouble. He never said a word. Didn't even say anything. He didn't even say anything to me. He just looked at me and I, knew the mistake I made, and he never told my parents, never told my teacher, never told the principal. So
one of my favorite words now. So it didn't work on me if that ever happened to me.
Mr. Taylor, wherever you are, thank you for not
probably in a nursing home somewhere, but we appreciate your efforts, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, like because I didn't curse a lot when I was a kid. Like if I said damn, it was like ooh, and I don't know why I said it. Like I really don't know why it was kind of like Ralphie in A Christmas Story saying fudge. Like that's basically what it was. So
careful there.
Yeah, I would not say that. We're not allowed to say that.
No, company guidelines.
Yeah, I just checked. I didn't see anything about Soto because it's been known to happen where you're live.
No. That's not going to be a Friday night news dump.
No, or like anything else coming out. Like just making sure because you never know because the world is a strange place. But yeah, I'm just hoping it's done by Sunday, Monday at the latest. Hopefully it's good news for us. If it isn't, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't change his mind.
We'll see. I think there's motivation. I'm not as nervous for his decision because this is a weird offseason where they're going to have an opportunity to make moves either way.
Right.
So I'm not too nervous about this offseason.
Yeah, I don't know. All of a sudden, I'm like very anxious. I don't like that feeling.
I want him to make his decision, but whatever decision he makes, I'm comfortable with because they'll be able to recover either way.
How true is this? Isaac said gym teachers are really cool or really mean, and it's true.
I only had cool ones. I don't know how you could be mean as a gym teacher.
Oh, I've had mean gym teachers.
What's so wrong in your life to be mean as a gym teacher? You're a gym teacher.
I mean, but that I don't know. But yeah, I've had a couple of mean. Oh, 7th grade. Yeah, she was mean. She was very mean. But for the most part, they were okay. But it's true though. It feels like people who were because one of the guy gym teachers in high school was a well-known jerk. He also coached the baseball team.
Well-known jerk.
Like no one liked him. Like even the guys didn't like him, but he was very sexist towards the girls and just an absolute jerk. And I think I brought up his name like a few weeks ago. My brother's like, oh, like my brother didn't even like him. My brother was 4 years behind me. And he's like, oh, he was the worst. So yeah, it's really hit or miss with gym teachers. It's kind of funny.
Thank God we don't deal with them
anymore. Oh, Debbie, have you been here? Because wanted to tell you your question. We're going to do a whole segment on it. I wanted to give you a whole segment because it was very long and I wanted to look it up and research and like know what I was talking about.
You won the ultimate insider reward. Congratulations, Debbie.
Yeah, you're going to get your own segment next week at some point when I get the research done. So yeah, it should be fun. Any more questions? We have a couple more minutes we can stay on and do this because, you know, there are no rules with live streams.
Yeah.
So I'll keep checking, but yeah, you know, it's December 6th. The winter meetings start Sunday, right? And they're in Dallas. I know a few people who were going as writers that I know. So that's cool. I've always wanted to go, and I always said I was going to go, and I've never gone. I have never been able to go. I always wanted to go when they were in Nashville because they were always at a cool place.
I don't think you get anything out of being there, though, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think there's anything like they're not giving you anything extra. I was going to add John's question.
What does it say?
Yeah. When will all MLB teams increase the luxury tax?
Or no, it says when all MLB increase luxury tax.
Oh, was it a comment that he was making something? I'm sorry. I thought he was asking when they will do it.
I think that's what it is.
When they will, it happens every year. So there's your answer.
Finja, you're only 14 going on dates?
Good for you.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't know if your parents agree with that, but good for you. I wasn't going on dates.
No wonder why you saw a teacher. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's even more uncomfortable at your age. I'm very sorry to hear that because at 14 years old, I was not seeing teachers on dates. That's for sure. I had a girlfriend at 14 years old, but I certainly wasn't seeing teachers on dates. That's for sure.
I did not have a girlfriend at 14 or a boyfriend.
Yeah, no, my old high school girlfriend.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so John says, when will they do it? When will they increase the luxury tax?
Yeah, that's I figured. They do it every year. Look it up. It happens every single year based on the revenue. It goes up.
Oh, right. Yeah, and the revenue was a lot.
Revenue goes up every year because TV contracts go up every year. So the more you watch games, the more the luxury tax goes up every single year.
Yeah.
Good question, though, because not a lot of people know that.
The amount of money
sick
that teams make, that teams pay out. And it's not even just baseball, obviously. Like, you know, you look at some of the NFL contracts, some of the NBA contracts, you're just like.
The NBA is crazier because at least football players play every week.
Yeah, NBA
players don't play. So, you know, it is what it is. It's just the money. The more and more popular sports get as the decades go on, is the more and more these guys are going to make. Don't blame the players for taking the contracts. Blame yourselves for watching. Seriously.
I mean, you know, everyone's salary should be going up. Minimum wage should be going up. Salary should be going up. Everything should be going up because that's how things are going. But that's just not how everything works. But in sports, they do. Just not in everyday life.
Good for them. That's
just the way it is. That is just the way it. Finn just says, me buying a $60 Yankee hat is helping the luxury tax. $60? What is on this hat?
Yeah, I don't know what hat you bought for $60, but yes, it is helping the luxury tax. The problem is, in baseball, that $60 Yankee hat gets divided 31 ways. So,
wow. So I'm looking at all of my. Yeah, how many do I have? I have 13 Yankee hats. So
yeah, but $1 from that $60 thing is going into Ohtani's contract and stuff. So you got to think of it that way. Everything you buy merchandise wise gets split with shared revenue.
Yeah, crazy. Well, thank you all for joining us for this live later edition of Fanmail Friday. I was not feeling well Thursday night. I thought I was getting a cold. Turned out it was just allergies because before I went to bed, I felt a little feverish, kind of, and headachy, and I was like, oh. And I went to sleep and I woke up and I realized it was just allergies. So I was like, okay, well, good. I don't have to deal with a cold, but annoying because, you know, we could have done the show last night if I realized it wasn't a cold, but I just wasn't feeling well. So here we are. But thank you all for joining us for this. I had fun. Did you have fun?
Always.
Fanmail Friday's fun. You guys help us produce the show.
Yes, for sure.
You know, and the insiders really stepped up this week. So we appreciate that. And thank you, Finja, who said, thanks for the podcast.
Of course, Finja. It's our pleasure.
You're welcome. So thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings you a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the off season. You can find Locked On MLB wherever you get your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you Monday.